Hey everyone, it's Ellis, and this is the patch 12.18 notes rundown. This is officially the Worlds patch, and unfortunately, if you guys saw the 12.18 patch preview, you know that there's not actually a lot of meaningful changes, which likely ends up meaning that a couple of the big things like Hecarim and Maokai and the MF buffs, those are going to be the things that carry over the most into Worlds, and other than that, it's going to be representative, I think, of the playoff meta that we ended up seeing. Obviously, Maokai and Udyr have been adjusted, but Udyr is disabled for Worlds, so it's not worth really talking too much about. Okay, so let's get into it. Ashe Q bonus attack speed is increased. Q, Ranger's Focus. 20 to 40% attack speed to 25 to 55% attack speed. So this is obviously nice for Ashe. I think that realistically, if like Caitlyn starts coming back because other ADCs are perceived as weaker, then obviously Ashe comes back as a response to that. But realistically, Ashe's main focus is probably going to end up being in the support role. And because it's going to end up being in the support role, yes, it is nice that she gets a little bit more attack speed at the early stages. But for the most part, it's not the end of the world. It is nice to get an extra little dagger on her in the later stages of the game. But other than that, not too much really going on there. It's ultimately a mid-game buff. Hecarim, QAD ratio decreased, damage per stack decreased, W post-mitigation damage, heal reduced. Base health is going to go down by 25, Q Rampage. Physical damage bonus AD ratio is going to go from 95 to 90%, and then increased damage per stack, 4% plus 6% per 100 AD, to 4% plus 5% per 100 bonus AD. So he's losing a little bit of damage. Realistically, Hecarim, depending on who he's fighting, he's either already overkilling them anyway, or he's already served his purpose inside of the team fight. The main problem with him right now is obviously he's able to build in a way where he's such a menace with his utility, his clear speed, and the fact that he's just showing up as like a fast clearing bruiser inside of the jungle with the way that they completely tuned it. And so these nerfs are definitely like, there's something, but it's not enough to even come close to moving him off of his absolutely broken tier status. So I would expect that Hecarim is going to be very, very popular at Worlds. I would be extremely surprised if Hecarim is not literally everywhere at Worlds, especially because he can be drafted so early on inside of drafts, and obviously a lot of people are a fan of early rotating junglers. So that's Hecarim. Kalista, base health is decreased. So this is sort of what I was alluding to with the Ashe Caitlyn thingy, where now Kalista's losing, more of her HP. Lucian and Nami got hit a little bit. Zeri got tagged a little bit, and then obviously Sivir got tagged a little bit. So the very popular ADCs over the last couple of months have all gotten tagged, and Caitlyn has received some buffs. And so in the event that Caitlyn would come back, obviously Ashe would probably end up rising up as a response to that. And that's the way that pros end up perceiving things. Kayn, Darken Form Q bonus AD scaling is decreased. Q, Reaping Slash. Darken damage, 65% AD, plus 5% of the target's max health, plus 5% per 100% bonus AD to 65% AD, plus 5% of the target's max health, plus 3.5% per 100 bonus AD. So this is aimed, I think, mostly at solo queue because of Rost just healing so much with the build that they've obviously been doing in Grievous Wounds. I mean, with the way that Umbral Trespass works and other stuff, it also makes it a little bit difficult to do Grievous Wound stuff to Rost inside of solo queue. And then Kayn inside of solo queue is a different beast than he is inside of competitive because obviously soul stacking and fights are a lot more chaotic, which leads to transforms happening a lot earlier, which also makes it very difficult for Riot to balance. Lee Sin, health growth increase, W lifesteal, and spell vamp increase. So the health growth is up by a little bit. He's going to end up getting probably like 2 auto attacks worth of HP in like the mid game or something, and the early trades will have like 1 auto attack worth of HP extra. The Safeguard, Iron Will, lifesteal, and spell vamp. The thing is that lane Lee Sin used to do things like 3 points Q, 3 points W, 3 points Z, or it would keep altering the Q, W, and E depending on the lane matchup and the flow of the lane. But obviously inside of the jungle, this is not a thing that ends up happening, and so while this buff is going to be noticeable in the later stages for Lee Sin's gameplay, it's going to be very, very, very negligible because, again, Lee Sin, I mean, when he's being played inside of the jungle, he's generally low economy, can't keep up with a lot of the power farmers inside of the jungle, and so even with the increase to spell vamp, the amount is so negligible that it's not really converting to a whole lot inside of the fights. Lulu, W bonus movement speed decrease, disable duration decrease, cooldown increase. So W Whimsy is down by 5%. Disable duration is also going to go down by 0.25 in the later stages. 0.5 only at rank 1 though, which is fine. And then cooldown 17 to 13 to 17 to 15. So honestly, what this is really a nerf towards is for top and mid Lulu, which are obviously way less common than, you know, anything nowadays. It is something that will hurt Lulu a little bit, but given that at like rank 1, it's very negligible at rank 1, and then depending on certain Lulu matchups, I mean, you don't feel the pain of this right away, whereas obviously, yes, you will feel it a lot more later, but this isn't going to prevent Lulu necessarily from getting picked, but it does make her a lot worse, and obviously, I mean, for top and mid, this is crippling compared to support. Maokai. So Maokai is absolutely nuts right now, and he is really good up in top lane. With a lot of the way the matchups are right now. Support, he still does retain his flex potential, and then inside of jungle, I think that he's playable in pro and really high MMR, but outside of that, I think it's kind of griefing. So with the changes that they're doing here, the heal is going down by a slight amount, which obviously this doesn't really matter if you're jungle or like support, but it is noticeable up in top lane. And then Q Bramble Smash bonus damage to monsters is going up by a lot. So you're now getting the old rank 3 bonus damage to monsters at rank 1, which is huge. And then obviously just the damage keeps going up, so you're just getting a lot of extra damage. This is really big for his clear speed, and obviously that makes it a lot better for Maokai inside of the jungle. But again, with like Hecarim and stuff, and Maokai also having some bad matchups that can exist that could always come out, like Kindred and other things of, you know, that nature, things get a little bit awkward for him, but I would, you know, entertain that he would have flex potency at Worlds. Sapling Toss, 55 to 155, plus 8% bonus health, plus 42.5% AP, to 55 to 155, plus 6% bonus health. Oh, was it 6 here? It is 6 here. Oh, 40. Oh, he loses 0.25% ability power, which is fine. And then the empowered damage is also going down by a little bit. So this is all fine as well. And then Misfortune, health growth and AD growth decrease. This is fine. She already got so much buffs to her, and with the Leandri's variation and just the way that she can do different itemizations, Misfortune should be a menace at Worlds. I don't expect any of the Eastern region teams to do any of the Leandri variation builds, but definitely some of the Western ones could, and then maybe the Eastern region teams do end up picking that up. But right now, the way that things are looking is that as long as, you know, AD carries aren't too bored, what'll probably end up happening is a cycling of like Senna, Ashe, MF, and Caitlyn is the way that things are looking right now. Nocturne, attack damage growth decrease. So he's losing AD, but this doesn't, I mean, it does matter because everyone builds him as tank, but realistically, he got AD buffs in the past, and the way that people play him anyway, the amount of levels that he actually gets inside of a game, it's very unlikely, I think, that this will end up actually altering like something that would happen inside of a competitive game, although it is noticeable for solo queue. Thresh, health growth is going up by 5 per level, so he's getting like an auto attack extra of HP and laning. And then the E-Flay, the base damage is going up. Lulu did get nerfed above. Thresh has really specific matchups where he has value, but he's also very dependent on team compositions. And right now, there's just a million other better supports generally than Thresh. Although him appearing, obviously, on the patch notes reminds people that he exists, and so maybe it makes people pick him. But Enchanters are just way too good. And Bruisers right now as support, I mean, I don't doubt that people might pick Leona. They might pick Nautilus and things like this just because reasons aware. But realistically, I think that Thresh has no purpose being picked in competitive. Udyr, base health decreased, armor growth decreased, Q mana cost decreased, AP scaling increased. First 2 attacks now gain 50 range. Awakened Q now deals additional max health damage on first 2 attacks. So they are making Udyr less tanky, which is fine. And now Wilding Claw, the mana cost is going to go down significantly. And the Empowered Lightning Strike AP ratio is going to go up by 0.2. Udyr's first attacks gain 50 attack range, matching the functionality of his Awakened Q. And then Awakened Q now deals an additional 2 to 5% based on level, plus 0.03 bonus AD. Max health physical damage on first 2 attacks. W Iron Mantle. Percent HP heal is going to just be 1.2 flat now, and then percent HP shield 2 to 4% to 2 to 3.5%. So yeah, he's a lot less tanky. However, the lifesteal obviously does go up, but the lifesteal counts for his physical damage dealt, not for any of his magic damage. And so, well, you know, he will get some HP back because obviously he's auto attacking and stuff. It's still not probably going to make up for the nerfs of the durability missing. And then our Wingborn Storm, so 20 to 110 plus 40% AP, 35% AP, and also losing base damage, but the damage to minions is going to go up in the later stages. So honestly, I mean, as our build is the thing that is mostly problematic, which Riot has shown that they do nerf champions for certain builds and stuff, and so the R build is definitely the most problematic variation of it that makes him very broken in the higher tiers. Udir's disabled for Worlds, and so while this will do something for solo queue, there's no point talking about it for the Worlds patch. For competitive, selecting a priority role will protect you from being autofilled only in your upcoming game. I don't know what that means. Remove support supremacy. Guaranteed autofill protection when queuing as support or queuing as fill has been removed. Recurring protection. Players will receive autofill protection for 2 games after having played a game while autofilled. Okay. Behavioral systems. Players you have recently honored or have recently honored you will show up in the suggested party. That's fine. Mythic content are also really good. And then Worlds Clash and challenges. So that's all fine. So we'll obviously talk about like competitive and Clash because realistically, not too much is changing here for like solo queue and competitive. I really don't think that much moves here on like solo queue tier lists in reality. So now let's take a look at some of the skins. So this is Ashen Silas or something. Honestly, I'm not a really big fan of it just because it seems so aesthetically akin to Pyke. And I mean, I understand that Ashen is like a skin line and stuff, but this one's really not doing it for me. I just feel like Silas has so many Silas has so many different things going on already, and I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel about this. This reminds me of some game for the PlayStation, like PlayStation 2, a long time ago. It was like a vampire type game or something, and this skin just gives off those vibes. This is one of the best skins. I actually can't believe this isn't just like a Goth Annie rework. This is one of the best skins. The Fright Night stuff going on here is absolutely cool. This gives like Bride of Chucky vibes type stuff going on, and obviously Tibbers is psychotic, and that's totally fine as well. I don't even really know exactly what he's knitting. Is Tibbers actually knitting a child or something? Is that what he's doing? Because it looks like Tibbers is knitting a even smaller bear, so maybe something is going on here. Or is Tibbers and stuff doing voodoo? Is this actually a Mumu and she's doing voodoo stuff? I honestly have no idea. And then there's also like a little teddy bear over here, and now I'm starting to ponder, like, what the hell is going on? Did Annie and Tibbers, like, what? Let's just move on, guys. Okay, so this skin is really cool. This skin, it really does give off, like, you know, like, not a cartoony, but, like, it really does give off, like, something Halloween-y. This is the first year, I think, in a lot of recent years where the skins really do feel like Halloween. This really, really does feel like Halloween is coming. This is going to be really cool. We're almost in October. Riot is nailing the Fright Night skins this year, so I think this is definitely really good. This skin, I don't totally know what to feel about it. It's like Sindel and Frost from Mortal Kombat ended up having a child together. So it's a little bit weird, but, you know, it's kind of like whatever. And then honestly, this thing is like looking like Who Fed Casper the Ghost, because he's looking a little bit too chunky, but, you know, I mean, who's paying attention. This skin is also kind of cool. Again, I mean, he does look like a graveyard keeper. It does have like a Frankensteinish kind of vibe to it. Annie is obviously telling Tibbers to be quiet over here. But all in all, I mean, I absolutely love it. I love this entire skin line so far. And then this Urgot skin is also really good. I mean, again, like, what is it, Nightmare Before Christmas or whatever? Like, there's such a good aesthetic to this. This does kind of look like the really evil ghost from Casper, the one that was like way bigger. I don't know what his name is, or maybe it was Ghostbusters or something, but all in all, really good. And then, oh, that one is next. But anyways, this is the World's Azir skin. So I do want to mention one thing. Obviously, he looks really cool. And I understand that all the world skins are, they generally look very similar. So this is like the Victoria. Is this Victorious, or is I don't know if there's a specialization. he looks nuts. He really does look like a super insane transformer. It's a really cool skin. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of like Artanis, like the Golden Armada Artanis. Like this looks like, you know, high Executor Artanis. Like this is like a High Templar from StarCraft that is absolutely just, he is DTF, man. He's DTF. This really gives off like Artanis vibes, or like Tassadar, or like whatever you want to go there. Obviously has the helmet on, looks very, very prestigious, and everything looks really, really cool. And so I think that skin's really cool. I do want to just mention though that like I feel like the world skins should do something representative of the region that year. And so I feel like maybe there's something missing out where like maybe his armor could have a chroma that ends up having like, you know, some of like, I mean, Worlds isn't in Canada anymore, right? I guess it's still in Mexico City. I was gonna say like maybe something like the Mexican, or like the, I mean, maybe you could find a way to combine like the North American flags or something into a skin. Maybe that would be possible. And then like if Worlds is in Europe, you have like a chroma that has like you know, the European thing going on there. And then obviously China could have like there's a lot of ways that I think that they could go directions with the skins. So anyways, we go back now to the patches. And yeah, I mean, I'll turn on Twitch chat, obviously, as I am doing this live. Again, not too much is changing. Not too much has changed inside of this patch. There's not a whole lot going on there. Stop saying KFC Azir. KFC Azir is not what is going on. Okay, that is not what is happening. And then obviously the very last image was, I have it in advance this time, because people always ask about it. I don't know why this is so zoomed in, but I have it in advance. I don't know why it's so zoomed in, actually, but it's on Patreon. I will be honest with you that the 12-17 changes, there's not a whole lot going on, because 12-18 doesn't have enough changes. But it's out on day one. By popular demand, it's no longer waiting until Saturday, Sunday, KST. So obviously that's on Patreon, and that's totally fine. And no, I'm not going to show it live. Obviously, it's blurred for a reason, and that's totally fine. So that's it for the 12-18 patch notes rundown. Hopefully, Riot starts preseason earlier this year, because the patches have been really, really, really lackluster lately. And there's, like, if we didn't get Maokai, Udyr, and Hecarim, I mean, yeah, those are really cool. Don't get me wrong, they are really cool. But if we didn't get them, everything would be so stale. And this just reminds me, like, it's like the thing that in the podcast that I talked about with Forest Within, which is like Riot just needs to add champions to the patch notes so that people remember that they exist. Like, even if it's just placebo buffs. Now, the buffs, Nasus is not here, and honestly, I still have faith that he will appear at Worlds, okay? Based Lord Trimby. Okay, that's all I gotta say. I have faith that he will appear at Worlds. Nasus support, okay? Obviously, they did not include him. It's totally fine. If that support change had gone through, it would have been insane for Nasus support, but maybe they actually pulled it because of that. Who knows?